Why is our world so complicated? Why do we have stock markets, central banks, and politicians arguing about taxes? To understand this massive global economy, we don't need a boring textbook. We just need to watch a tiny, chubby 2D civilization evolve from scratch. Imagine a pristine green valley. Our little 2D friends live a simple life. They forage, they sleep, and occasionally poke sleeping bears. It's a peaceful, utterly unproductive existence. But soon, they discover agriculture. And with it, the first economic problem. Who gets what? Enter classical economics. In 1776, a guy named Adam Smith looked at this society and said, "The economy is a giant machine, and it works best when absolutely no one touches it." He introduced the invisible hand. Basically, self-interest is actually a force for good. A 2D farmer doesn't wake up at 5 a.m. to grow rice because he wants to save the world. He does it because he wants to get rich. But this selfish desire has a magical effect. It magically ensures the rest of the village has enough rice to eat and doesn't starve. Classical economists believed markets balance naturally. If demand is high, price goes up. Seeing high prices, more guys plant rice. Supply jumps, price drops. A perfect loop. They called it laissez-faire, let it be. Sounds like a perfect utopia, right? Well, the problem with classical economics can be perfectly explained by game theory. It states that given freedom to choose, humans often choose mutual destruction. Take the prisoner's dilemma. Two of our 2D guys are arrested for stealing apples. In separate rooms, guards give a choice. Stay silent or betray your friend. If they both stay silent and cooperate, they each get just 1 year in jail. If they both betray each other, they each get 3 years. If one betrays and the other stays silent, the silent guy gets 5 years in a tiny cell. Rationally, the best outcome is to stay silent. But humans don't trust. When personal interests are involved, we assume the other guy will backstab us. So what happens? Both betray each other and both rot in jail for 3 years. This game explains the world's problems. Nuclear arms races to climate change. A nation might want to reduce carbon emissions, but they start to think, if I reduce emissions and my neighbor doesn't, I lose money and Earth still burns. So I might as well keep polluting. When everyone is selfish, everyone loses. The majestic invisible hand suddenly looks like it's slapping us in the face. As our civilization industrializes, massive factories are built. Society splits. Wealthy guys in top hats and exhausted workers in overalls. Karl Marx appears with a large beard and an uncomfortable question. Look at a factory. A worker makes 10 smartphones a day. The boss profits $1,000, but the worker's wage is only $40. Marx asks, if the worker created $1,000 worth of value, why get only $40? The difference between value and wage is called surplus value. Marx argued capitalists get rich by extracting this surplus value. He called it legalized exploitation, predicting a worker revolution. He believed society naturally evolves from capitalism to communism. However, the capitalists have a counter-argument. They say, wait, I bought the machines. I took the massive financial risk. If the company goes bankrupt, the worker just finds another job. But I lose my entire life savings. In their view, profit is simply the necessary reward for taking risk. While workers and bosses argued, the 19th century brought neoclassical economics. These guys figured out something insane. Price isn't based on production costs. It's based entirely on how much the buyer feels it is worth at that exact moment. Think about it. Water is absolutely essential to keep our 2D guys alive. Without it, they quickly dry up and turn into completely useless dust. Yet, despite keeping everyone alive, water is incredibly cheap. Meanwhile, a shiny diamond, a useless rock that does nothing except look pretty, costs an absolute massive fortune. Why does this weird paradox happen? Neoclassical economics explains this mystery using marginal utility. It means value is completely subjective and highly depends on scarcity. Since water is literally everywhere, one extra bottle isn't very exciting. But diamonds are super rare. Finding one feels like a massive achievement. This school assumes humans are perfectly rational, calculating machines. We always seek to maximize our benefit. Buyers want low prices, sellers want high. Nobody is stupid enough to choose a bad deal on purpose, right? Keep that in mind. Fast forward to the 1930s. Our 2D civilization hits a massive wall. The Great Depression. The stock market crashes. People lose their jobs. The invisible hand is nowhere to be found. Enter John Maynard Keynes. Keynes basically said, The invisible hand gets stuck and needs a giant push. Here is the problem. During a massive recession, everyone gets terrified. Families stop buying things, choosing to hoard their money instead. Saving money is smart for a family, but at a macroeconomic level, it's a disaster. If nobody spends, businesses make no money, so they fire more workers. Unemployed workers spend even less. It's an endless death spiral. Keynes argued that when consumers refuse to spend, the government must. The government should borrow cash and build roads, bridges, and dams. This creates jobs. Workers get paid and they start buying food again. Businesses start making money and they hire even more workers. The economic engine finally restarts. Keynesian economics worked beautifully. Everyone was happy. But then, the 1970s arrived, bringing a terrifying new monster. Normally, you either have a stagnant economy or high inflation. But stagflation is the nightmare combo. Frozen economy and skyrocketing prices. The Keynesian trick of printing money to boost demand stopped working. It just made inflation much, much worse. So, supply-side economists stepped in. They said, stop boosting demand, boost supply. Their controversial solution? Cut taxes for the ultra-rich and big corporations. The idea was the wealthy would create jobs, and wealth would trickle down. It grew the economy, but massively increased inequality. Top hats got bigger. Meanwhile, Milton Friedman yelled, "You're all wrong, it's the money printer." Friedman argued inflation is always caused by printing too much money. His solution? Let the money supply grow at a slow, steady, predictable rate. Oh, and a little bit of unemployment is actually necessary for a healthy economy. Try putting that on a political campaign poster. As our 2D world expanded globally, people noticed something weird. Some nations were rich, sending rockets to space, while others were dirt poor. Why? Development economics and institutional economics tried to answer this. It turns out a country's wealth isn't just about gold, oil, or cool technology. It's about institutions. Is the government corrupt? Do people know how to read? If your institutions extract wealth rather than create it, you stay poor forever. And let's not forget the Austrians. While others used complex math equations, they said, throw the math away. The economy has natural boom and bust cycles. When interest rates are artificially low, people invest in stupid things. Like digital pictures of apes, people lose money. The economy crashes. But the Austrians argue this crash is actually a healthy reset. Trying to prevent recessions with central bank magic just delays the inevitable and makes the eventual crash much, much worse. We arrive at behavioral economics. Remember when they said humans are rational? A guy will drive 20 minutes to save $1 on coffee, but refuses to do it for a $300 TV. Mathematically, it's the exact same dollar, but our monkey brains don't care. This explains why shops price things at $100 instead of $200. We are irrational. And what about the politicians running the show? Are they selfless angels? Public choice theory reminds us they aren't selfless angels for the greater good. They are just humans who want to keep their jobs. They want votes and budgets. Imagine a new sugar tax. It costs every citizen just $20 a year, but it gives $20 million to a small group of sugar companies. Citizens won't protest because $20 just isn't worth rioting over. But companies will spend millions lobbying the government to pass the law. The golden rule, concentrated benefits, and distributed costs. That's why bad policies live forever like unstoppable zombies. In the end, economics isn't about money, complex math, or boring charts. It's the study of us, our greed, our deep fears, our wildly irrational choices, and our clumsy, endless attempt to build a civilization that doesn't immediately collapse. Speaking of rational choices, hitting subscribe is one of the best you can make.